Hey, Salty here, and welcome to a new video series I like to call Salty's Custom Cards, where I show off 4 custom cards that I made based on a certain theme. And the card types that I would be showing off will be 1 unit, 1 spell, 1 attachment, and finally either a power or sight. The reason why I'm making this new series because the whole reason I even became a content creator was to gain enough community points of 1,750,000 to create my own custom card. And I already have a few ideas of cards I want to do, but at the same time I wanted to put maybe have some more fun into it, where I would show, once I actually ever reach that goal, which is probably going to take a while, I would have to already show players or viewers all my cards that I've wanted to do, and then we would have a vote. But maybe to make it easier on everybody and have more content on my channel, I decided to do this series where I show you these cards, and then we get to vote for one of them. That would be in the final vote once I reach that point. The cards I'm about to show you might be either too powerful or underpower. Like, I'm even no game designer, but I think I have played enough card games of Eternal and Magic Gathering and etc. be able to design something decent enough, right? As well, if you know what I'm about, if you ever seen my Fix-It videos. So, yeah. Now let's get on with the first card, shall we? Okay, here we have Oath Titan Armor, which is a 3/4/4 Paladin Sentinel, which has Aegis, Regen, and Imbue. The card itself would seem OP, but I give it an additional effect where it can't attack unless it's imbued with a unit. But then let's say once it loses that imbued unit, it'll never be able to attack or block, which is why I gave it another effect, which literally is copied from the Greenstone Officer, where you pay 3, you exhaust Oath Titan Armor, and then you imbue it with another unit. I always wanted there to be some sort of mech-like Sentinel that's piloted by another unit, and this is like the best way you can do it, having the imbue effect. But if you think about it, if I imbue this with another Sentinel, that's technically saying that I put a Sentinel inside another Sentinel, and that wouldn't really work. Unless but that's like more like something from Gurren Lagann. But this thing would only be as big as maybe as big as a giant from my imagination point of view. and Sentinels can be bigger than giants, right? Like, originally I was gonna just make this be a I don't know, 4/4/4 Aegis Regen, but I thought that's a little too boring. And also, having it that has both Aegis and Regen is kind of nuts. Which is why I thought, hey, why not have it some sort of effect where it can't attack or block unless something happens? And that, originally my first idea was, why not have it only be able to attack or block once there's a relic in the void? But then, like, that might be a little too slow, but it would be consistent with some of the newer Justice Sentinel cards that have that effect. But do Times or Fire Sentinels do that yet? I don't remember all the cards. But I'm like, nah, I want to make it more mech-like, so give it imbue and then make it effect with imbue. Then I'm like, then why didn't I lose that imbue unit? Like I already said, copy the effect. A card like this, I think it would see play in either a mono Justice aggro deck or any kind of Justice aggro deck. I think that would be Rakano and maybe Combre. But I would also love to see it in an actual Sentinel deck. But if this card was actually printed, I'm not sure if that would work. So yeah. This card might have a place, it might not, but most promo cards don't really always see play. Nah, who am I kidding, World Broker? So anyways, let's just get on with the spell now. Okay, next we have Storm of the Titan, which is my take on a time version of Laser Blast and Controlled Demolition, where you exhaust one of your units, and you put each unit whose attack is less than the exhaust unit attack into the owner's hand. Storm of the Titan costs 3 less if your unit was a Sentinel. The reason why I came up with a card like this was because when you're playing a Sentinel deck, The main issue it has in most matchups are you're already outnumbered when you finally play just one Sentinel. And Sentinels can only, even though no matter how strong that Sentinel is, it can only block one unit at a time. So I decided to go with some sort of board control. Similar to Harsh Rule, but it returns each unit to your hand. This card has its ups and downs. The upside is, if you're playing against an aggro deck, you get to clear their side because usually your Sentinels are much stronger than any unit they play. The downside is it also returns your own weak units. Sure, if you're playing in a Sentinel deck, most of your Sentinels are already heavily statted, right? But let's say you had enough damage to go to the face. If you just only just cleared their side, that'll never happen. But at the same time, it could be an upside because you're returning your units back to your hand, and that unit could have a really good summon effect, like a power cell. You can play that again. Then you gain that card that lets you gain 1 power, and or if you're playing that one explorer, or was it a mystic where it draws you a card, or other examples of or any good summon effect cards. I think a card like this can actually see a lot of play even if you didn't have a Sentinel, because times are all about having big units, right? It's just works much better if it was played on a Sentinel. Originally, I was gonna make a card where it would give a unit killer, overwhelming deadly, but that might have been too much. And I'm like, that'd be too much like control demolition. And I was gonna make a card that would heal you equal to that Sentinel's health, but then that would be too much like Laser Blast. I think this would be a good card to have out of the 3. So, yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about it. Let's get on with our attachment now, shall we? Okay, next we have Sentinel Hanger. When played, it'll summon a 5/5 Sentinel, and then you get to pay. Then you pay 5 more to sacrifice Sentinel Hanger to play another 5/5 Sentinel, and finally it has the passive effect. Your Sentinels have warp. This card might be too crazy and very overpowered, but I just wanted to come up with an idea of how a Sentinel Hanger would work, where Sentinels would be stored. I was maybe thinking of having you would sacrifice a Sentinel and then you would store it into the relic itself, or you would pick a Sentinel on the field and then you would shuffle like a few copies into your deck. Like, I don't know, like the top 20 or 10 cards of your deck, and then it would still have warp. But at the same time, I figured, why not just have it where you play it and it summons a 5/5 Sentinel? Maybe it doesn't need to have the pay 5 effect and the Sentinels have warp, but I just wanted to make it feel more like a Sentinel Hanger, right? I think out of all the cards, I think this one won't get any votes, or if it does, it's probably going to need some changes too. So yeah, it's a simple card, maybe a little too strong. Maybe I could have done pay 10, not pay 5. Who knows? So yeah, now let's get on to our last card. Okay, finally we have Sentinel Encyclopedia, where you gain Fire times Justice if you have a Sentinel in your hand. Some of you might have already recognized this card because I posted on Reddit like a month ago. It was my take on a 3-colored power card, and where it would not just for this wouldn't just be for Sentinel. You would have a Valkyrie Encyclopedia, a Mandrake Encyclopedia, maybe a Dragon Encyclopedia. What else is there tribe-wise? Gunslinger Encyclopedia? No, that would just be Valkyries. So what the hell am I thinking? So yeah, I think a card like this is balanced enough because you need to have a Sentinel in your hand, or otherwise you're not gaining anything. At the same time, you're letting your opponent know you have a Sentinel in your hand when you gain that influence, right? So then they will know what to be prepared for. But at the same time, it might be a little too OP with Surge or World Pyre decks, right? Because you're gaining 3 influence. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they didn't make such a card yet, where you gain 3 influence. The highest we ever gotten was 2. And sure, they have that gain 5 influence power card, but that's not even technically in the game. It's just meant for Gauntlet or even campaign mode. I would love to actually see that in the game, but that would be too much. So, yeah, not much to really say for a power card like this, other than what I just said. So, yeah. So that's going to be it for this video. So, I will be posting a poll in the comment below, where then you get to vote which card you would might want to see in the final vote for my design a card. And yeah, and if you have any suggestions how I would change any of these cards, I would love to hear them. And if you have a suggestion what I should do next for custom cards, also leave a comment below. So, anyways, thanks for watching. See you all guys next time. Well, that's the end of this video. If you want to see more in the future, why not subscribe to my channel? But in the meantime, why don't you check out these playlists? I want to thank my patrons whose donations, big or small, really help support my channel. Anyways, hope to see you in the next video.